Once upon a time, in the depths of the forest, lived three little squirrels, Chip, Chirp, and Fluffy. These three siblings spent their days hopping on the branches, leaping from one tree to another, and frolicking in the woods. One day, as they were wandering through the forest, they came across a massive tree. At the top of this tree, they saw a magnificent orchard. At the very top of the orchard, there was a hazelnut tree shining in golden color. The three little squirrels decided to come under this splendid tree and pick a hazelnut together. However, the branch where the hazelnuts were located was very high. Chip said, "How will we reach those heights?" Chirp suggested, "Maybe we can give each other a boost." Fluffy said, "Let's try," and they lined up side by side, giving each other a boost. They attempted to reach the hazelnut at the top. At first, they struggled, but as they worked together, they grew stronger. Eventually, they succeeded in picking the golden hazelnut at the very top. By sharing the hazelnut, they laughed happily together. From that day on, Chip, Chirp, and Fluffy always helped each other and experienced many more adventures together. The little squirrels learned that by supporting each other, they could overcome any challenge. And so, the great adventure of the three little squirrels inspired other animals living in the depths of the forest. Once upon a time, deep in the heart of the forest, there lived an adorable monkey named Wise Monkey. Wise Monkey was one of the cleverest and most curious monkeys in the forest. One day, as he roamed through the woods, a group of birds appeared before him. The birds flew around, singing cheerful songs to the surroundings. Wise Monkey was enchanted by the birds' songs and approached them with a friendly greeting. The birds found Wise Monkey charming and invited him to join them. Thus, Wise Monkey formed a friendship with these birds adorned with colorful feathers. One day, upon hearing of a problem on the other side of the forest, Wise Monkey alerted his friends. The birds quickly flew to the other side to investigate the situation. They discovered that many animals in the forest were struggling to find water. Wise Monkey immediately decided to make a plan. Together with his friends, they formed a team to find water and help other animals. Wise Monkey, along with some birds, flew to high branches to locate water sources in the vicinity. The other birds guided them in sharing these water sources with the rest of the animals. Thus, Wise Monkey and his friends assisted the forest animals, meeting their need for water because everyone helped each other. The forest became an even more beautiful and peaceful place. Wise Monkey and his friends learned the importance of unity and cooperation. Since that day, a loving and friendly atmosphere prevailed throughout the forest. Wise Monkey and his friends continued to help every creature in the forest, savoring the joy of the beautiful days they spent together. And our tale concludes here. Remember, working together and helping each other always brings the most beautiful solutions. Once upon a time, on the edge of a distant forest, lived a smart rabbit in a meadow filled with colorful flowers. As the name suggests, the smart rabbit was the cleverest and most intelligent rabbit in the forest. The other animals in the forest always looked at him with admiration. The greatest quality of the smart rabbit was his ability to find creative and intelligent solutions to problems. One day, the other rabbits came to the smart rabbit because they couldn't solve their problems. On another day, rabbits living on the other side of the forest were struggling to reach water sources. This time, the smart rabbit helped them by suggesting a simple idea of creating a water canal. The smart rabbit thought and came up with a plan. Surround the entire field with barbed wires, he said. This way, the pigs won't be able to get into your field. The other rabbits loved the idea and immediately got to work. After putting up the barbed wires, the pigs could no longer reach the cabbages. One of our cabbage fields is always invaded by pigs, and they eat our cabbages. What should we do? Asked the rabbit sadly. The smart rabbit continued to provide creative solutions to problems for rabbits all around the forest. Everyone looked at him with gratitude and listened to his wise advice, and thus the smart rabbit became the hero of the forest. He was not only intelligent, but also a helpful rabbit. The other animals in the forest were very pleased with the lessons and assistance provided by the smart rabbit. He became the most beloved and respected rabbit in the forest. The end of the story marks a hopeful tale of the forest, left behind by the wisdom-filled life of the smart rabbit. Once upon a time, there lived a group of animals deep within the forest. Among these animals, the most intelligent was a famous fox known as Mind-Pa Fox. Mind-Pa Fox was loved and respected by everyone in the forest. One day, the other animals in the forest began to watch Mind-Pa Fox with curiosity. The fox was solving various problems throughout the forest, and the other animals started seeking advice from him. One morning, under the shade of a giant tree at the forest entrance, all the animals gathered. Mind-Pa Fox stood at the forefront to address the forest residents. "Dear friends," said the fox, "I've gathered you here because we have a problem in our forest, and together we can solve it. The color of the water in the pond has changed, and our fish are in distress. We must help them." As the other animals looked at the fox with admiration, they all said in unison, "Yes, let's help." Mind-Pa Fox first examined the water in the pond. Then he said to the other animals, "Each of us can contribute. Birds can clean the algae in the pond. Rabbits can collect the debris in the water. Wolves can fix the bushes around the pond. By working together, we can make our forest a more beautiful place." Under the leadership of Mind-Pa Fox, the animals came together and started working. After several days of effort, the water in the pond became clear and clean again. The fish swam joyfully, expressing their gratitude. By collectively addressing other problems in the forest, the animals now lived in a healthier and happier environment. Mind-Pa Fox became not only known for his intelligence, but also as a friendly and helpful leader at the heart of the forest. And thus, through solidarity and collaboration among the forest animals, everyone continued to live a happier life. Once upon a time, in the wake of an ordinary day, lived a curious girl named Talus. One day, in a moment of boredom, Alice noticed a white rabbit rushing by, chasing after the rabbit. Alice tumbled down a rabbit hole, marking her first step into Wonderland. Alice realized she had stepped into a mysterious world. In this world, there were talking rabbits, grinning cats that disappeared when smiled at, and mushrooms. Alice began to wander through this enchanted land. Along the way, she encountered a rabbit who invited her to a tea party, a talking hat, and peculiar creatures. Alice traversed this fantastical land, enchanted at every turn. At each step, she encountered new adventures and peculiar characters. She found that hats changed sizes in a hat shop, card games were played in the Queen's garden, and the Cheshire Cat mysteriously appeared at every corner. Alice progressed through this magical realm, bewitched by its wonders with each step. New adventures and peculiar characters unfolded. In a hat shop, she observed hats changing sizes. In the Queen's garden, card games were played, and the Cheshire Cat mysteriously appeared around every corner. Alice, throughout her time in Wonderland, frequently found herself shrinking and growing, attempting to comprehend the logical rules of the world. Yet, as she began to accept each bizarre occurrence, the world became even more magical to her. In the end, Alice decided it was time to return from Wonderland. However, this experience not only gave her a new perspective, but also taught her that there are no limits to the imagination. Upon returning to the real world, Alice, recalling the magical adventure, realized the importance of discovering magic hidden behind the ordinary. It wasn't the end of the tale, but a beginning, as Alice, now guided by her imagination, decided to live every day as an adventure. Once upon a time, in a colorful meadow full of flowers, there lived a tiny bee named Bella. Bella was the smallest bee in her hive, but she had the biggest heart. She loved to buzz around the meadow, visiting every flower she could find. One sunny morning, Bella woke up early, excited for a new day of work. She stretched her wings and flew out of the hive. The flowers were blooming, and the air was sweet with their scent. Bella buzzed from one flower to another, collecting nectar and spreading pollen. As she worked, Bella noticed a flower that was drooping sadly. It was a beautiful daisy, but it looked very thirsty. Bella felt sorry for the daisy and wanted to help. She flew to the nearby stream and dipped her tiny wings in the cool water. Then she fluttered back to the daisy and sprinkled water onto its petals. The daisy perked up immediately, its petals standing tall and bright again. "Thank you, Bella," the daisy whispered. "You saved me." Bella felt so happy that she started to dance around the daisy, her wings humming with joy. Soon, all the flowers in the meadow heard about Bella's kindness, and they began to call her whenever they needed help. Bella was always ready to lend a wing, whether it was bringing water, spreading pollen, or just keeping a lonely flower company. One day, a strong wind blew through the meadow, knocking over many of the flowers. Bella quickly flew around, helping each flower stand back up. The other bees watched her, amazed at how such a small bee could do such big things. When Bella returned to the hive that evening, the queen bee called her forward. "Bella," she said, "you have shown that it's not the size of the bee that matters, but the size of her heart. You are a true hero of the meadow." From that day on, Bella was known as the busiest and kindest bee in the hive. And whenever the flowers saw her coming, they smiled, knowing that they had a friend in Bella, the busy little bee. And so Bella continued to buzz happily around the meadow, spreading kindness and making the world a brighter place, one flower at a time. Once upon a time, there was a small village on the edge of a beautiful forest. David, one of the children living in this village, was a child who loved nature very much. One day, an elderly aunt in the village told David that there was a flower garden in the forest and that there were very special guests in this garden. David immediately ran to where the aunt had pointed. There, he encountered cheerful bees buzzing among the colorful flowers. The bees were diligent, collecting nectar from the flowers in harmony with each other. Curiously, David approached a bee and asked, "Hello, who are you?" The bee responded with a cute smile, "Hello, David, we are bees. Our name is Honeybee. Our task is to collect nectar from flowers and make delicious honey by mixing it with bee saliva." David learned how important the work of these little bees was. The bees carried the nectar they collected from the flowers to their hives, working together to produce honey. One day, a bee said to David, "You know, David, we bees not only make honey, but we also help plants reproduce by pollinating their flowers. This helps maintain the balance of nature." Upon learning how crucial the role of bees was, David became even more fascinated. Every day he visited the flower garden to accompany the bees. The bees, by narrating informative stories, explained to David the importance of preserving nature and the environment. David began to appreciate the time he spent with the bees in this beautiful flower garden. Now he loved nature even more and understood how flowers, bees, and all living things supported each other. And the story ends here. David continued to spend time with the bees in the flower garden every day. Now, he also made an effort to protect and love nature. Remember, even a small child can make a big difference with their love for nature. Once upon a time, in the heart of a lush green forest, there lived a majestic lion. He was known far and wide as the king of the jungle. His roars echoed through the trees, striking fear into the hearts of all the animals. One sunny morning, as the lion basked in the warmth of the sun, he heard a tiny squeak coming from nearby. Curious, he turned his head and saw a little mouse trapped under a fallen branch. The mouse struggled and squeaked, desperately trying to free itself. The lion approached, his massive frame casting a shadow over the tiny creature. "What are you doing here, little mouse?" he asked, his voice rumbling like distant thunder. The mouse looked up, trembling with fear. "Please, mighty lion," it squeaked, "I am trapped. If you spare my life, I promise to repay your kindness someday." The lion chuckled at the thought of a tiny mouse ever being able to help him, but he was feeling generous that day. So he lifted the branch with his powerful paw and set the mouse free. "Go on then, little one," said the lion, "and remember, a kindness is never wasted." The mouse scurried away, grateful for its narrow escape. Months passed, and the lion forgot all about the tiny creature he had once helped. But one day, As he was prowling through the forest, he found himself ensnared in a hunter's net. No matter how hard he struggled, the lion couldn't break free. His roars filled the air, but there was no one around to hear them. Just when he thought all hope was lost, he heard the sound of tiny footsteps approaching. It was the mouse, remembering the lion's kindness. It had come to repay the debt with its sharp teeth. The mouse gnawed through the ropes of the net until the lion was free once more. The lion was astonished. "I never thought such a small creature could save me," he said, humbled by the mouse's bravery. From that day on, the lion and the mouse became the best of friends. They roamed the forest together, their unlikely friendship serving as a reminder that no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted, and whenever they heard someone in need, they were always there to lend a helping paw, no matter how big or small the problem. Once upon a time, in a vast golden savanna, there lived a young elephant named Ella. Ella was not like the other elephants in her herd. She had a trunk that was a little shorter, and she often worried it wouldn't be useful for the adventure she dreamed of having. One sunny morning, the animals of the savanna were buzzing with excitement. News spread that a magical waterhole had appeared in the heart of the jungle. It was said that whoever drank from it would gain a special gift. "I must find it," Ella exclaimed. She wanted to prove that even with her short trunk, she could achieve great things. Ella started her journey early, walking through tall grass and dense trees. Along the way, she met a mischievous monkey swinging from vines. "Why are you going to the magic waterhole, little elephant?" the monkey asked, giggling. "I want to find my special gift," Ella replied. The monkey grinned. "The jungle is full of tricks. Be brave, little one." As Ella continued, she reached a dark and spooky part of the forest. There, a colorful parrot appeared. "Turn back, young elephant," squawked the parrot. "The waterhole is guarded by the grumpy crocodile." Ella felt a shiver but shook her head. "I have to try," she said determinedly. Finally, after hours of walking, Ella arrived at the shimmering waterhole. It sparkled under the sunlight, and animals were gathered around it. But blocking the way was the grumpy crocodile, his sharp teeth gleaming. "Who dares approach the magic waterhole?" growled the crocodile. Ella stepped forward. "I only ask for a sip of the water. I want to find my gift," she said bravely. The crocodile stared at her. "Why should I let you pass?" Ella thought for a moment, then said, "Because I will share whatever gift I receive with others. The magic is meant to help everyone, not just me." The crocodile was surprised by her kindness. He slowly moved aside, allowing Ella to drink. As she sipped the water, a warm glow surrounded her. Ella's short trunk began to shine, and she realized she had been gifted the power to bring water wherever it was needed. From that day on, Ella became a hero of the savanna. She helped the animals find water during the dry season, proving that being kind and brave was the greatest gift of all. And Ella never worried about her trunk again. Once upon a time, in the depths of a lush forest, lived a very cute bunny named Tiny. Tiny was known as the kindest bunny in the forest and loved helping everyone. One day, while wandering through the forest, Tiny saw a porcupine crying under a tree. Tiny quickly ran over and asked, "Why are you crying, little porcupine?" The porcupine wiped away his tears and said, "Because of my quills. No one wants to play with me." Tiny comforted the porcupine, saying, "Don't worry, we can find friends who will play with you. Everyone has unique and special qualities." Tiny took the porcupine to meet his other friends. There were birds, squirrels, and many other forest animals. Tiny introduced the porcupine and made sure he joined in their games. At first, everyone was a bit hesitant, but thanks to Tiny's kindness and warm heart, they all accepted the porcupine and started playing together. As days passed, a beautiful friendship blossomed between the porcupine and the other animals. No one was afraid of his quills anymore, and they enjoyed playing with him. Everyone was happy, thanks to Tiny's good heart and help. One day, a fox came into the forest. The fox tried to scare the animals, but Tiny and his friends stood together. Tiny approached the fox and spoke kindly, "Fox, we are all friends here. If you choose to be kind, you can be our friend too." The fox was deeply moved by Tiny's words and thought for a moment. Finally, he said, "All right, I will be a good friend." And so the fox joined their group, and the friendship in the forest grew even stronger. The animals in the forest learned how important it was to be kind and help each other. Thanks to Tiny, everyone followed Tiny's example and became kind-hearted and helpful. The forest became a happier and more peaceful place, and Tiny, along with his friends, continued to live happily ever after, because he had planted seeds of kindness in everyone's heart. Once upon a time, in a sunny meadow, there lived a tiny pet named Andy. Andy was always curious and loved helping others in his ant colony. One day, while carrying food back to his home, he stumbled upon a big, heavy rock blocking the entrance to the ant hill. Andy tried to push the rock, but it was far too heavy. He thought for a moment, then decided to ask his friends for help. First, he went to Bella the beetle. "Bella, could you help me move this rock?" he asked. Bella smiled and said, "Of course, Andy. Together, we can try." They pushed with all their strength, but the rock wouldn't budge. Next, they asked Sam the strong spider. "Sam, can you lend us a hand?" Andy said. Sam joined in, and now 3 of them pushed, pulling and straining. The rock moved a tiny bit, but not enough to open the entrance. Andy scratched his head. "We're all strong in our own ways, but maybe we need a different idea." He thought about it and said, "What if we dig a small tunnel around the rock? That way, everyone can still go in and out." Bella and Sam agreed, so they all started digging together. Little by little, they made a new path around the rock. Soon, the tunnel was big enough for all the ants to pass through safely. The queen ant saw what they had done and praised them. "You showed kindness, teamwork, and creative thinking. Because of your efforts, our home is safe again." From that day on, Andy and his friends learned that sometimes using their minds and working together was just as important as being strong. and they all continue to help each other every day in their cozy home under the meadow. Once upon a time, in a distant village, there lived a sweet little girl. Her hair was so beautiful and shiny that everyone in the village called her Little Red Riding Hood. Little Red Riding Hood's greatest passion was to go into the forest every morning and explore the beauty of nature. One morning, Little Red Riding Hood said to her mother, "Dear mother, I want to go to the forest. Maybe I can gather some fruits for my grandmother." Her mother gave her permission with a smile, but she also gave her a warning. "There are wild animals in the forest, so you must be careful. You should not trust anyone." Little Red Riding Hood took her basket for fruits and set off for the forest. As she walked through the forest, she listened to the songs of the birds and felt the gentle breeze. She loved nature, and she appreciated the beauty of every tree, flower, and stone. After a while, suddenly in the forest, she saw a wolf. The wolf was big, had black fur, and its eyes gleamed. Little Red Riding Hood approached the wolf and asked in a sweet voice, "Hello, Mr. Wolf, where are you going?" The wolf replied, "Dear Little Red Riding Hood, I am wandering in the forest. I am going to visit a close friend." "Where are you going?" Little Red Riding Hood, unfortunately, learned from her mother that she should not reveal where her grandmother lived so cleverly. She said, "Oh, Mr. Wolf, my grandmother's house is not too far, but I don't know how to get there." The wolf decided to help Little Red Riding Hood. "I can take you to your grandmother's house, Little Red Riding Hood. Come on, I will carry you," he said. Little Red Riding Hood accepted the wolf's offer and hopped on his back. The wolf ran into the forest with her. However, Little Red Riding Hood soon realized that she was getting deeper into the forest at a speed that made her lose her way. Unfortunately, that wolf was a cunning and malicious wolf, and he had deceived Little Red Riding Hood. A hunter from the village noticed the wolf's trick and rushed into the forest to rescue Little Red Riding Hood. The hunter saved her and guided her safely back home. When Little Red Riding Hood returned to her mother and grandmother, she told them about her adventure and how she had almost fallen into a trap set by the wolf. From that day on, Little Red Riding Hood learned to be cautious when encountering wild animals in the forest, just as her mother and grandmother had taught her. She also understood that she should always be careful around cunning and dangerous individuals. Her adventure became a lesson in the village, and everyone praised Little Red Riding Hood for her bravery and intelligence. Little Red Riding Hood continued to visit and enjoy the forest, but now she was more careful and cherished every moment with her loved ones. Once upon a time, in a small town, there lived an adorable child named Little Sailor. Little Sailor's greatest passion was setting sail on the sea. The deep blue of the ocean, the salty breeze, and the cheerful dance of the waves enchanted him. Every morning, Little Sailor would wake up early and gaze at the sea from the window by his bed. One day, with sparkling eyes, he turned to his mother and said, "Mom, I want to set sail on the sea. I want to get to know the sea, become friends with it." Smiling, his mother replied, "Of course, little sailor, but you must be careful and remember that you are embarking on a great adventure." Little sailor eagerly began his preparations. He found a small boat in the backyard and adorned it with colorful paints. Before the sun rose, he dragged his little boat to the shore. As he stood at the edge of the sea, little sailor paused for a moment. His eyes were shining brightly. He hopped into his boat and started rowing. The melody of the wind and the sounds of the waves empowered him. While rowing into the distance, fish swam alongside little sailor. Seagulls accompanied him, and playful seaweed danced around his boat. Little sailor was captivated by the colorful world beneath the sea. One day, a massive shadow appeared on the horizon. As little sailor curiously looked on, he realized the shadow was not a sea monster, but a group of dolphins. The dolphins jumped around him, singing with joy. Little sailor gathered beautiful memories with his sea friends. However, as evening fell, he pulled his small boat back to the shore and returned home. His mother welcomed him with a smile, and little sailor exclaimed, "Today the sea showed me it is a true friend. I can't wait to set sail again tomorrow." And so, little sailor became the happiest child in the world, sailing into new adventures with the sea every day. Once upon a time, in the magical land of Rainbow Valley, there lived a little child named Alex. Alex was always curious and open to exploration. One day, as he wandered through Rainbow Valley, he stumbled upon an old bookstore. In the bookstore, he found a book titled Guide for Little Inventors. Alex, after picking up and examining the book, was filled with excitement by the fascinating ideas inside. The book offered various suggestions for children to create their inventions. Using simple materials, determined to try them out, Alex set off on his inventive journey. First, he decided to make a spaceship from his old toys and cardboard. Using vibrant paints and shiny stickers, Alex decorated the spaceship. When the spaceship was complete, Alex found himself in the midst of an intergalactic adventure. His next invention was an irrigation system using an old water jug. From the garden, Alex punctured the water jug and attached a thin hose. This made watering the plants in the garden easier and more enjoyable. As days passed, Alex's inventions gained fame in Rainbow Valley. Other children admired his creativity, and they were inspired to create their inventions. The little inventor Alex became a hero in Rainbow Valley. In the end, we see that Alex was a little inventor within everyone. Remember, every child can discover their ideas and explore many things with creative thinking. In Rainbow Valley, the story of the little inventor Alex brought children's imaginations and curiosity to life. Once upon a time, in a distant forest, there were adorable animals living happily and peacefully in the heart of the forest. Under a large tree, lived the Monkey King, the ruler of the forest, who was the wisest and fairest among all the animals. They called him the Monkey King. The Monkey King felt a great responsibility to preserve the beauty and balance of the forest. One day, news of evil coming from the depths of the forest reached him. A group of foreign animals had entered the forest boundaries, disrupting the natural balance. The Monkey King immediately gathered the forest council together. They decided to make a plan to protect their forest and restore peace. The Monkey King selected the bravest and most intelligent animals of the forest and assigned them the task of protecting and maintaining order in the forest. These brave animals worked together to guard the forest boundaries, keeping outsiders from entering and nurturing nature with love. The Monkey King appreciated their efforts to restore the balance of the forest and thanked them. In the end, the forest returned to its peaceful days. The Monkey King demonstrated the power of unity and collaboration. The balance of the forest was preserved through leadership based on love and justice. Thus, the Monkey King and his courageous friends brought back peace and happiness to the forest. All the animals in the forest looked at the Monkey King with gratitude, living together with love and respect. And so our tale concludes. May the tranquility and happiness of the forest endure forever. Once upon a time, in a faraway magical kingdom, there lived a princess known for her beauty. Her name was Snow White. She was recognized by her golden hair, lips as red as apples, and porcelain white skin. The queen of the kingdom was Snow White's stepmother. However, this queen harbored a wicked heart, filled with the desire to be more beautiful than Snow White. Every day, she would gaze into her magical mirror and ask who was the fairest of them all. But one day the mirror replied, "Queen, you are beautiful, but Snow White surpasses you now." This angered the queen, and she immediately devised a plan to rid the palace of Snow White with a handful of golden hair, a red apple, and a magical mirror. She set her evil plan into motion. One day, Snow White was sent into the depths of the forest. However, she was not alone in the woods. The beautiful princess was discovered by 7 dwarfs. They provided her with a warm shelter, and Snow White began to live happily with them. But the queen's wicked intentions were far from over. One day, she looked into her magical mirror again and saw that Snow White was still the fairest. This time, the queen decided to go to Snow White herself, disguised as a wicked witch. In the forest, the queen found Snow White and presented the enchanted apple. One side of the apple was poisoned, and only Snow White could consume the non-poisoned side to retain her beauty. The queen tempted Snow White with promises of everlasting beauty, and she took a bite where Salem met him. The magical apple cast Snow White into a deep slumber. The dwarfs were saddened, but they believed that one day a prince would come and awaken her with a true love's kiss. Indeed, a prince arrived in the forest. He fell in love with Snow White at first sight and gently kissed her. The kiss broke the spell, and Snow White awoke. The prince and Snow White left the forest and returned to the kingdom. As for the queen, her wickedness caught up with her. The magical mirror no longer spoke of her beauty. The queen felt remorse for her actions and apologized to Snow White, the kingdom became peaceful once again. And Snow White and the prince lived a life filled with love and happiness. Once upon a time, in an old carpenter's workshop, there was a puppet crafted not just from wood, but also infused with wishes and a touch of magic. This puppet came to life with a sincere wish for the carpenter and was named Pinocchio. Pinocchio was more than just a wooden puppet. He was brought to life in a special way by a fairy with the carpenter's wish fulfilled. Pinocchio became a being that could talk, think, and feel like a real child. However, Pinocchio had a peculiar problem. Whenever he told a lie, his nose would grow longer. This was a magical enchantment that made living with honesty and truthfulness quite challenging. For him, Pinocchio embarked on a series of adventures to cope with this difficulty and grow into a real child. The first significant adventure in Pinocchio's life began when he learned that he had to go to school. On the way, he met a group of children, and they quickly became friends. However, a cunning friend suggested that Pinocchio should tell a lie, yielding to the pressure. Pinocchio told a lie, and suddenly his nose grew longer. This incident made Pinocchio reflect on the importance of honesty. From that day forward, his journey to become a real child began. Pinocchio faced various challenges, but each one brought him closer to understanding the value of truth. One day, he encountered a massive whale. Pinocchio decided to confront the whale to help others and prove his honesty. Even when swallowed by the whale, Pinocchio remained illuminated by the light of goodness and truth within him. Pinocchio's adventure extended to a magical land, toy shops, and many other interesting places. At each step, he made an effort to earn a heart filled with honesty, friendship, and kindness. Finally, a fairy rewarded him. Pinocchio was granted a wish, but this time he didn't wish to become a real child. His previous experiences had taught him what it truly meant to be a child, and now he no longer desired just a wish, and thus Pinocchio grew into a real child, fulfilling the carpenter's heartfelt wish. From being initially just a wooden puppet, Pinocchio had transformed into a genuine, kind-hearted child. The end of the story. Good night, dear children. Once upon a time, deep in a great forest, there lived a little badger named Fuzzy. Unlike the other animals, Fuzzy didn't like to sleep at night. When everyone else was fast asleep, Fuzzy just couldn't seem to fall asleep. One evening, as the moonlight bathed the forest in a gentle glow, Fuzzy was again struggling to sleep. He tossed and turned in his bed, but he couldn't close his eyes and dream. "What am I going to do?" Fuzzy murmured to himself. "I can't just wait until morning without any sleep." Fuzzy got out of his bed and started walking into the forest. As he walked deeper, he could hear the hoots of owls and the chirping of crickets. After a while, he saw the wise old owl, Mr. Hoot, perch on a tree. "Good evening, Mr. Hoot," Fuzzy said. "I can't sleep and I don't know what to do." Mr. Hoot looked down kindly at Fuzzy and smiled gently. "Hello, Fuzzy. he said. Maybe you can't sleep because your mind is too busy. Come, let me teach you some relaxing breathing exercises. Mr. Hoot taught Fuzzy how to take deep breaths in and slowly exhale. After a few breaths, Fuzzy felt a bit more relaxed, but still he wasn't sleepy. Thanking Mr. Hoot, Fuzzy continued walking through the forest. After a while, he came across Tiny Bunny Tippy, who was sleeping soundly in her warm burrow. Fuzzy carefully tiptoed past her so as not to wake her and continued on his way. Soon, Fuzzy saw fireflies dancing under the starry sky. The fireflies lit up the night like tiny lanterns. As Fuzzy watched them, he felt a sense of peace wash over him. Maybe I need to relax to be able to sleep, he thought. Just then, Fuzzy's old friend, Curly the Hedgehog, appeared. Curly greeted Fuzzy with a happy wave. Hello, Fuzzy. What are you doing out here at this hour? I can't sleep, Curly, Fuzzy said with a sigh. Curly smiled at Fuzzy and said, I have an idea. Let's sing a little lullaby. Maybe that will help you relax. Fuzzy and Curly sat down in a small grassy clearing in the forest. Curly began to sing a sweet lullaby in a soft voice. As Fuzzy listened to Curly's soothing song, his eyes grew heavy. Curly continued singing, and Fuzzy's eyes slowly closed. Finally, Fuzzy drifted into a deep sleep. Seeing that his friend was asleep, Curly brought a blanket and gently covered him. Then he returned to his own cozy burrow to sleep. That night, Fuzzy slept peacefully and dreamed of fireflies dancing under the bright stars. When morning came, he woke up feeling energetic and happy. From that day on, Fuzzy knew what to do when he couldn't sleep. He would take deep breaths, relax, and listen to a lullaby from a friend. And so Fuzzy and all the other animals in the forest lived happily and peacefully ever after. In a peaceful garden full of colorful flowers and green leaves, there lived a tiny snail named Lily. Lily was known for being curious and dreaming big. She had one big goal: to reach the top of the tall sunflower in the middle of the garden. One sunny morning, Lily decided that today would be the day she'd start her journey up the sunflower. Slowly, she began inching her way along the stem, feeling the warmth of the sun on her back. Along the way, she met Buzz, a friendly bee, who buzzed around her. Why are you moving so slowly, Lily? Buzz asked, hovering nearby. I may be slow, but I know I'll get there if I keep going, Lily replied with a smile. Buzz admired Lily's determination and cheered her on before flying off to gather nectar. As she climbed higher, Lily began to feel tired. She met Hoppy the grasshopper, who looked at her and said, Lily, why don't you just hop up like me? Lily shook her head and answered, I may not be able to hop, but I can keep moving little by little. With each small step, Lily stayed focused, moving carefully up the stem. At times, she slipped, and the journey felt hard, but she kept reminding herself slow and steady wins the race. Finally, after a long journey, Lily reached the very top of the sunflower. She looked out over the garden and felt proud of her achievement. Buzz and Hoppy both cheered from below, amazed by her patience and determination. See, said Lily with a bright smile, sometimes going slow helps you enjoy the view. From that day on, all the garden friends admired Lily not just for reaching her goal, but for teaching them the importance of patience and not giving up, no matter how tough the journey. Once upon a time, there were 3 little pigs who were sent out into the world by their mother to seek their fortunes. Each pig decided to build a house to protect themselves from the big bad wolf. The first little pig was very lazy and decided to build his house out of straw. It was the easiest and quickest way to have a house. The second little pig worked a bit harder and built his house out of sticks. It was stronger than straw, but still not very strong. The third little pig was the hardest worker. He built his house out of bricks, which took a lot of time and effort, but it was very sturdy. One day, the big bad wolf came to the straw house and knocked on the door. Little pig, let me come in, he said. Not by the hair on my chinny chin chin, replied the first little pig. Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in, roared the wolf, and he huffed and he puffed and he blew the house down. The first little pig ran away to his brother's stick house. The big bad wolf followed and knocked on the door of the stick house. Little pigs, let me come in, he demanded. Not by the hairs on our chinny chin chins, replied the pigs. Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in. And he huffed and he puffed and he blew the house down. The 2 little pigs ran away to their brother's brick house. The wolf, now very hungry and determined, went to the brick house and knocked on the door. Little pigs, let me come in, he growled. Not by the hairs on our chinny chin chins, replied the pigs. Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in. So he huffed and he puffed, and he huffed and he puffed, but he couldn't blow the brick house down. The wolf was very angry, but he was also very clever. He decided to climb down the chimney to get into the brick house. However, the third little pig had a big pot of boiling water waiting in the fireplace. When the wolf came down the chimney, he fell right into the pot, and that was the end of the big bad wolf. The 3 little pigs lived happily ever after in their strong, safe brick house. Once upon a time, in the depths of a vast green forest far away, there was a sweet valley. In the middle of this valley, there was a meadow filled with colorful flowers, and along the edge of the meadow, there were tall, sturdy trees lined up. Among these trees, there was a small cave where a baby dinosaur lived. The baby dinosaur, a cute creature named Dilbert, was the happiest and most curious creature in the valley. Every day, he would venture out to explore the world around him and seek new adventures. However, one day, as he roamed through the meadow, the baby dinosaur did not encounter his mother. He panicked and searched around, but he couldn't find his mother. He had never been separated from her before. Feeling sad and scared, Dilbert threw himself among the trees. He was alone in the forest. He wandered around for a few minutes, but he couldn't find his mother. He was so worried that tears started to well up in his eyes. Just then, from the other end of the forest. A small voice was heard. Dilbert lifted his head and looked up at the sky. The voice belonged to a flying bird. As the bird flew towards Dilbert, it said, "Hello, little dinosaur. Why are you so sad?" Dilbert felt a bit relieved when he heard the voice. Turning to the bird, he said sadly, "I've lost my mother. I can't find her." The bird immediately offered to help him. "Don't worry. I can help you find her. I can sniff out her scent. Just follow me." Dilbert ran after the bird. The bird led Dilbert deep into the forest and finally caught the scent of his mother. Dilbert was overjoyed to find his mother, and his mother was equally happy to find him. From that day on, Dilbert, his mother, and his new bird friend continued to explore the forest together. And Dilbert now knew that whenever he felt lonely, he could rely on his friends around him. And so Dilbert's adventure continued happily, celebrating the power of friendship and solidarity. Once upon a time, in the depths of the forest, there lived a cute baby alligator by the edge of the lake. His name was Tico. Just like other alligator babies, Tico loved playing games and exploring new things. One day, while Tico was strolling by the lake with his mother, he saw colorful fish dancing in the river. With curious eyes watching the fish, his mother said, "Tico, you can swim just like them." Tico hesitated for a moment, but then gathered his courage and jumped into the lake. Tico felt a bit excited in the water, but soon realized how much fun swimming could be. He explored the lake, played, chased fish, and made new friends underwater with his mother. Tico's swimming skills were improving every day. One day, while wandering in the forest, Tico encountered a giant butterfly. The butterfly said, "Hello, Tico. I'm Colorful Wings. May I take you on a tour of the forest?" Tico joyfully accepted, and Colorful Wings showed him the most beautiful places in the forest. As Tico ran among colorful flowers in the forest, he sang along with the cheerful songs of the birds. Colorful Wings introduced Tico to other animals in the forest. Tico played games with squirrels, sang songs with birds, and tried to hop with rabbits. Over time, Tico became a part of the forest. Whether underwater in the lake or on land in the forest, he made new friends. Every moment spent with his mother made Tico even happier, and so the little alligator Tico's grand adventure continued. He learned new things every day, made new friends, and enjoyed the flavors of life. The little alligator grew up in a world filled with a loving heart and curiosity. Once upon a time, in the sparkling blue ocean, there lived a small, curious crab. This little crab had bright red claws and a shiny, hard shell. He loved exploring the sandy sea floor and discovering hidden treasures. But there was one thing that scared him more than anything else. He was afraid of the big waves that crashed onto the shore. Every day, the little crab watched as his friends, the fish, and other sea creatures played near the shore. They would laugh and splash in the waves, but the little crab stayed far away, hiding behind rocks and coral. He was too scared to get close. One sunny day, a wise old turtle swam by and noticed the little crab hiding. "Why don't you join your friends in the waves?" asked the turtle. The little crab sighed. "I'm afraid the waves will carry me away. I don't know how to swim against them." The wise turtle smiled gently and said, "Sometimes you have to be brave and face your fears. You might discover something amazing." The little crab thought about the turtle's words all day. Finally, he decided to give it a try. With a deep breath and a lot of courage, he inched closer and closer to the shore. As he got closer, a big wave came crashing down. The little crab shut his eyes tight, ready to be swept away. But instead, he found himself riding the wave like a surfboard. He realized that if he moved his claws just right, he could swim along with the wave and not be swept away. He laughed with joy as he rode wave after wave, feeling the thrill of the ocean. His friends cheered him on, and soon he was having the time of his life. The other sea creatures gathered around, amazed at the brave little crab's new skill. From that day on, the little crab was no longer afraid of the waves. In fact, he became the best wave rider in the whole ocean. The other sea creatures admired his courage, and he even taught his friends how to ride the waves safely. The wise turtle watched from a distance and smiled, knowing that the little crab had discovered his inner strength. And so the brave little crab became known as the hero of the ocean, showing everyone that sometimes all it takes is a little courage to turn our fears into fun. Once upon a time, in a lush green jungle, there lived a friendly little dinosaur named Dino Dave. He was not as big as the other dinosaurs, but he had a big heart and an even bigger sense of adventure. Dave was bright green with tiny yellow spots, and he loved exploring the jungle every day. One sunny morning, while searching for tasty leaves to eat, Dave stumbled upon something shiny hidden beneath a bush. It was a colorful, glowing gem. The gem sparkled in all the colors of the rainbow. Dave had never seen anything like it before. "Wow, this is amazing. I wonder where it came from," he said to himself. As he picked up the gem, the jungle suddenly became quieter, as if all the animals were holding their breath. Just then, his best friend, a clever little bird named Tweety, flew down from a nearby tree. "Dave, that's the magical rainbow gem. It was lost many years ago. Legend says it brings happiness to everyone in the jungle." Tweety chirped excitedly. Dave's eyes widened. "Really? We must return it to its rightful place then," he exclaimed. So the brave little dinosaur and his feathered friend set off on a journey through the jungle to find where the rainbow gem belonged. They climbed over tall rocks, crossed rushing rivers, and squeezed through thick bushes. Along the way, they met other jungle creatures. First, they came across a wise old turtle named Trixie. "If you want to find where the gem belongs, you must go to the tallest mountain," Trixie advised. "Thank you, Trixie. We'll head there right away," said Dave. Next, they met a playful monkey named Max, who swung from the trees. "Beware of the dark cave before the mountain. It's full of mysteries," he warned. But Dino Dave was not afraid. He knew that they had to restore the magic of the rainbow gem. Finally, they reached the foot of the tallest mountain. There they found the dark cave Max had warned them about. It was spooky, with shadows dancing on the walls. But Dino Dave took a deep breath and marched inside with Tweety on his back. In the deepest part of the cave, they found a glowing rainbow altar. "This must be it," cried Tweety. Dave placed the rainbow gem on the altar, and suddenly the cave lit up with the brightest, most colorful light they had ever seen. The gem's magic spread throughout the jungle, filling it with joy and laughter. The animals cheered and celebrated, thanking Dave and Tweety for their bravery. From that day on, the jungle was always filled with happiness, and the rainbow gem stayed safely on the altar. Dino Dave and Tweety became heroes, known far and wide as the bravest adventurers in the jungle. And every time the rainbow colors shone bright, the animals remembered how a small dinosaur with a big heart saved the day. Once upon a time, in a colorful world deep within the forest, there lived a charming zebra named Zara. Zara was a bit different from the other zebras. Her stripes were more colorful and unique. Each stripe contained all the colors of the rainbow. Zara's colorful stripes intrigued the other animals. They thought Zara was truly special. However, Zara wasn't even aware of her uniqueness. She just wanted to play with her friends and wander through the forest. One day, Leo, a lion from the other side of the forest, saw Zara's colorful stripes. Leo was fascinated by Zara's difference and immediately went over to introduce himself. Zara greeted Leo with a kind smile. Leo asked, "Your stripes are so special and beautiful. Why aren't they just black and white like other zebras?" Zara chuckled in surprise and said, "I'm just trying to be myself. My colorful stripes are a part of what makes me, me. Everyone being different makes our world more colorful and beautiful." Leo understood Zara's beautiful thought and was delighted to make friends with her. The two started playing together deep in the forest. With time, the other animals accepted Zara's uniqueness, and they began to befriend her. And so, in the colorful world of the forest, a friendship story where differences come together began. Zara and Leo celebrated each other's differences, teaching the other animals that true friendship starts with accepting differences. Our story ends here. Remember, each of us is special, and our differences make us more beautiful. Once upon a time in the Enchanted Valley, there existed a forest resonating with the melodies of vibrant birds and the soothing whispers of the gentle breeze. Deep within this magical forest dwelled giraffes adorned with coats of diverse colors and unique abilities. Olivia, the tallest and longest-necked giraffe, could extend her neck to touch the sky. She believed that each of her companions could also reach for their dreams. One day, Olivia gathered her fellow giraffes in the heart of the woods and spoke, "Dear friends, our differences make us special. Some of us can sprint with incredible speed, while others can pluck delicious fruits from the tallest trees with their long necks. Yet, most importantly, each one of us has the power to pursue our dreams." Encouraged by Olivia's words, the giraffes began to explore and embrace their unique abilities. Olivia, with her extraordinary skill, taught the others how to reach for the sky. Zoe, with her long neck, dedicated herself to harvesting delectable fruits from the treetops. Zack, the swift runner, eagerly explored every nook and cranny of the forest. One fateful day, a foreboding shadow cast a dark veil over the tranquility of the enchanted valley. This ominous presence was advancing toward the heart of the forest. Olivia called out to her fellow giraffes, "Comrades, now more than ever, we need one another. Our distinct abilities can guide us through this challenge." Under Olivia's wise guidance, the giraffes united, utilizing their unique strengths to confront the encroaching shadow. Olivia, with her elongated neck, reached the shadow and successfully pushed it away. Zack, with incredible speed, swiftly carved a safe path through the forest for the other giraffes. In this arduous struggle, each giraffe harnessed their special abilities to safeguard their mystical forest. After the shadow dissipated, the giraffes assembled, and Olivia reiterated, "Witness the power within each of us. By embracing our unique abilities, we conquered this challenge together. We exemplify the strength of realizing our dreams and surmounting obstacles." In the Enchanted Valley, the legend of the giraffes continued, narrating a tale of self-discovery, collaboration, and the triumph of achieving dreams. Ultimately, everyone lived joyfully, supporting one another consciously, and celebrating the collective strength of realizing their dreams.